Tonight's tactical enhancement is Cockburn. Tonight we're playing Warhammer 8th edition, 2,500 points, battle line because we're lazy and didn't want to figure out any missions. On the Wood Elf side, I'm fielding Big Birdie, 18 archers with Hagbane, the poison stuff, never leave home without it, with a level 2 life mage there in the front, a tree person, another 18 archers with Hagbane, and they've got the army standard bearer, his pack and armor of silvered steel, and a level 2 Lore of Beasts character, mage, another 18 archers, Hagbane, 3 of the Warhawk riders, and over here we have ourselves the general armored up with a 4+ ward on a dragon and a ogre blade, so he's going to hit pretty hard, and another birdie. I've modified this list since the last time I used it. The last time I maximized every shooter I possibly could. This time I've trimmed a few bits here and there and gotten rid of the Way Watchers in order to fit in the tree person, because the army didn't quite have enough bite in the melee last time. So we'll see how it goes this time. I think it's optimized. I'll have the proof in the pudding very shortly. Right, on the opposing side we have Emilio and Doug with an amalgamated army, 2,500 points, allied generals. Doug, talk us through what you got.
Queen Khalida leads this army. She is backed up by her crew of 40 archers.
Oh, isn't she lovely?
And this is her Hierophant, a level 4 leech priest using the lore of Nehakara. He has an earthing rod to hopefully stop any bad warp energies from
spontaneously combusting. Right.
Behind him is a Hyro Titan, which doubles as a monster, but also a bit of a spell casting buff and can cast bound spells, so a bit of an all-rounder.
Doesn't he look unpleasant? That's a fantastic conversion, by the way.
Thank you. A Screaming Skull Catchpot to hopefully get lucky and drop a couple of rocks on these pesky pointy-eared fiends.
Yes, we don't look forward to that.
Got a count as level 1 Leech Priest. He's doing his thing also with Nehakara, and then the Casket of Souls is chilling there on top.
Hello, pretty. I'm expecting some nasty faces to melt today.
This is a War Sphinx, old school Dungeons and Dragons model. Counting as the War Sphinx with the Howdah.
All right.
Bone Giant with a bow, because Emilio loves them with the bow, and why not? Could get lucky. 6 chariots with full command, making up our core, and then these guys, I'm very excited to use them for the first time. Emilio has picked up an excellent group of Necropolis Knights with full command, and there are 5 of those there.
Right, lovely. Now, I think I finished deploying first, so I get a +1 on the first turn. The benefit of having to start deploying first. Gentlemen, pick a dice. We shall roll to see who gets first turn. Yes, and Doug's still rolling up some spells there. It's all a bit mean and nasty. Oh, and I got a 1, that blows.
2.
Oh, it's a tie. Look at that.
So we roll.
Alright, we roll. Oh, fucker, that's better.
So I need to get, do you still get +1?
Yeah, 6 to break even. Alright, we get first turn. Thank fuck for that, because this army is a little fragile in the face of that much shooting if I don't have an answer to it.
Makes sense. Elves are a lot quicker than Tombkins. They would get their stuff.
Now, there's one other thing I've got to do. I have a person with the shoot you in the eye roll, who's just within 36 of your army general, who's this person. So that means this person cops a strength 3 hit in the face. What's their toughness?
She's toughness 5.
Well, I need a 6. And that is not a 6. You very nearly lost a wound. Anywho, on that note, I'll do a bit of movement and shooting, and I'll check in at the end of the turn. Well, a reasonably successful first turn for the Wood Elves. We advanced these chaps so they would have range on the catapult hiding in the back corner. This chap ran up here to run interference, and the off chance that other things didn't work. These chaps also moved up to get shots. They stayed still. They stayed still. My dragon moved up, very carefully positioning himself so he'd be out of line of sight with the catapult.
Which is not there anymore.
He's not there anymore. But you know, when you got 500 points in one model, you kind of want to cover your bets. And that eagle there is just flapping around the full extent of 20 inches of advancement. What we did the magic didn't work. We didn't get anything off, or more accurately, I got one off, but it got dispelled. Can't complain. Then these shot fellows rolled pretty darn well on the 6s and killed that catapult outright. Then these fellows did extremely well on the 6s and took out
The casket.
That's right. What was that thing called?
Casket of Souls.
Casket of Souls, right. These chaps moved up and well, they didn't do that well on the dice, but Emilio's arm saves were crap and we took 3 wounds off the giant. And nobody else did anything. But that's pretty damn good. That means that I'm in the running. If I don't manage to waste at least one of those things, I think I'd have a hard time winning this game. But as it is, we're okay, we're in position and we can push on. So we'll go on to turn 1 for Tomb Kings. Right, end of turn 1 for the Tomb Kings, and there's something missing from my army. Yes. Well, they moved up over here. They threw a whole lot of magic around, most of which didn't do anything or was dispelled. Then they rolled up something over here. It's worth noting, I used my dispel to stop these guys from getting a magical advancement, which would have put them very close to my lines very early in the game. But that did mean that they then got the thing off, which means they get to shoot twice instead of once with this whopping great big unit of 40 archers. And that 40 archers is hitting on a 4+ instead of the usual 5+. So they get 80 shots, hitting on a 4+ with poison.
Yes, Kalita.
Yes, isn't she a nasty piece of work?
She really is.
And that was enough to completely annihilate an entire unit of 18 wood elves, because the cover doesn't mean anything to these guys, and neither does range. Which means that these skeletons shoot straight at the wood elves.
Can I just say for the record, I rolled 9 6s.
Yes, and
Out
I
of
got
40
6 for the poison, which is pretty good.
Yes.
Which is just above average, I'd say.
I just want to add, she has a bound spell, the Venom Staff, which does 2 dice worth of strength 4 hits, which against wood elves is quite scary. So she was crucial in that she also tried to cast that, which was dispelled, but that drew out crucial dice, which enabled that bomb to get. So she's just a
I have
pain in the arse.
I have 2 level 2 mages. This is a level 4 with a whole lot of extra whoop-de-doo, because basically it's a magic army. The level 1 does the movement spell. That thing gives a buff of D3.
Yep, to the power dice score.
Yep, and on top of that, there was the casket, which is gone. It also did magic, so there's a hell of a lot of magic. And that magic buffed the shooting, and took out that unit and the level 2 life mage. That's and in the other shooting, this guy's bow, which seems to be hidden somewhere, took 3 wounds off of the tree person. And they're whispering strategy and tactics in the background there.
Doug's just basically saying, first turn was such a target-rich environment. You're a shooter-up army, so there's a lot of bows with poison. You had so many targets to pick, and you did exceptionally well in your first turn. Can't take that away from you. But there's so much good stuff over here that we still had stuff that could answer back to you.
It's a downright dangerous army, there's no 2 ways about it. So I'm going to have to think very carefully about what manoeuvring I do next. And yes, we'll do turn 2 for the wood elves, and we'll see what I can pull off. Right, for a fast turn, firstly we manoeuvred. This eagle went here, he's hiding. The dragon rider has got around behind the flank. Two of these constructs. These cavalry turned up and put some poison arrows up these guys. And the other eagle is over here next to the casualty pile, looking for something that he can actually kill. And right now on 1 wound, that's not very much of this army. And the magic we rolled up really well, but I've only got 1 mage, he's level 2 to use the dice. So we put +1 strength and toughness on these guys, because they are the most likely target for a charge from them. And we did try to put +3 attacks and strength on this standard bearer, but they dispelled that with a great big whopping flurry of dice. Amazingly, nothing's exploded yet, which I think is quite remarkable given the fistfuls we'll be throwing around. Then in the shooting, alright, this lot here, polished off the bone giant. Boned the bone giant, as we were saying earlier. Which is good because that giant bow was causing me some angst. Then everybody else let loose on these chariots, and we killed 2 outright. So not a bad turn, but this army has demonstrated to me that it can cause me a whopping great world of pain, and I'm going to lose another unit this turn, I imagine. On that note, we'll check in at the end of turn 2 for the Tomb Kings. End of turn 2 for the Tomb Kings, and there's another big chunk of my army missing. They moved these guys up a little bit, then they got off the spell, which meant they moved up even more. They tried a bunch of other spells, some of which worked, some of which didn't, but mainly it's the movement spell off of this guy caused me the trouble, followed by, which I did try to dispel, but I rolled 1 too low. That was very annoying, and they had more dice to throw at the double the shooting spell, whatever that one is. So yeah, I just got diced for the magic. Fortunately, they only rolled up 4 dice, plus they got a channel, so that could have been a lot worse. I am seriously disadvantaged on the magic front. I'm starting to think I should trade in my 2 mages for 1 level 4. I might last a bit longer, maybe further refine this army. Anyway, they moved this chap around. He did a breath weapon attack, took out 2 of these guys. 3. These chaps moved around to confront the dragon so they didn't charge him in the flank, and also make it tricky to charge them. A little bit of shooting here and there, but not too much.
Oh, and we got 2 chariots back.
Oh, yeah, that's right. More magic, got 2 chariots back. That was very annoying.
And the Sphinx is full health again. Got his 1 wound back.
Yeah, so the magic factor in this army is extraordinary. It's horrific. And the shooting factor is horrific, partly because of the synergy with the magic, which I don't have an answer to yet. I might do in a little while. Anyway, over to Wood Elves turn 3, see what we can do. Well, sometimes you do everything properly and it still doesn't fucking work. We charge the treemen, well, the remains of this unit, and this unit in against these guys. We then tried to buff this unit, but they used the spell scroll, and we buffed this character, but I rolled a double 6, and got the worst possible roll, which meant that everything within the big template took a strength 10 hit. That bumped 1 off of a chariot. Did nothing actually. I rolled a flurry of 1s to win by Wood Elves, which is most peculiar.
That was a good roll.
Including my mage.
3 1s you rolled.
And then the mage rolled a 1. But then he also rolled another 1 and got sucked into the fucking warp. So that was most unfortunate.
Yes. Level 2 wizard, bye-bye.
That's why I got that.
I now have no mages left.
To avoid that, yeah. Just in case.
The other maneuvering was we moved these guys around, take a couple of shots. There's not much else they can do. We charged a an eagle against this fellow. We got in there. We took a wound off of him, and the fucker somehow magicked up a flurry of 6.
Dude's been training Kung Fu for the past 100 years.
He had 2 attacks, and one got in.
No, he had 1 attack.
One attack?
I think the wounded eagle just managed to land inconveniently on the end of its pointy stick. Yeah. Emilio is the artsy king, and that's been well on display.
Oh, that was
this turn.
Yeah, because I did fire that in there. That was a very good roll.
I rolled shit for my dragon's charge, and he completely failed to get into contact with that guy and polish him off.
Just Leech Priest, strength 3
if
attacks,
the dragon,
1 attack, weapon skill,
if the general on the dragon got in, it was spelling disaster for us because he would have kept going through.
This dude is untouchable.
So it all went rather poorly there. This is only turn 3. Then in the melee here, look, my hero did went rather well, but the Warhawk failed their fear test. Then I rolled up a storm to hit, and then absolutely fuck all to work. It was really terrible.
Yeah, that was probably your worst roll this game.
And then Emilio rolled up another set of Yahtzee and bumped off a whole rank of that unit. So I was a bit shithouse. Now next turn, those guys will charge the general properly, and these guys will shoot the hell out of the treemen. So this game is going rather poorly now. I've got a few other tricks up my sleeve, but yes, things didn't work quite so well this turn, so we're a little out of position. But we'll see how we are at the end of turn 3 of the Tomb Kings.
Chris is going to say.
I'm just interrupting the usual sequence. This is what I mean by the artsy king. Emilio rolled 20 dice, and he got 7 6s out of that.
Yeah, and 2 5s.
1 and 3 are a 6.
Now roll for
Absolutely incredible.
Meanwhile, I got 4 6s.
That's one, isn't it?
From my hits, I got 2 more wounds on
And I got
6.
one more.
Oh, there we go. Look, we'll check in again at the end of this turn.
Poison's
But,
automatic points, isn't it?
but this is the remarkable bullshit of fighting against Emilio.
So
Right, so it is the end of turn 3, and we have to call it because it's getting very late. It's a school night. So the magic was the usual shit fight, including buffing the hell out of these guys and taking some stats off of that dragon. There's a bit of a hex. And he moved up some guys with some magic as well. Now, this fellow came around, and he was behind the chariot unit, but that chariot unit got absolutely eaten alive in combat against this line here. They wrapped around a bit, but the buff spell on the hero standard bearer was still in effect, and he just smashed 2 chariots outright by himself, and the Warhawks cleaned up the 3rd one when they wrapped around. The shooting from these guys did what the shooting from these guys always did, and it polished off the treeman just, and you would have seen a moment ago my whinging about Emilio's Yahtzee. Good God Almighty, man!
And then you roll those saves.
I will point out, this is the first unassisted shooting round they've had all game, which is pretty good. So they've been buffed every time.
That's right. They only had 40 shots instead of 80.
Yes,
but that was enough to knock the last 2 wounds off of the treeman.
Yes, thanks to the heroics of your sniper bone giant before.
Yeah, the bone giant sorted him out earlier. Then over here, they tried to killing blow the character off the dragon. He made his ward, thank Christ. And then all that poison took just 1 wound off the dragon. And we ended up with a tie, except for the musician was the tiebreaker, because there's a full command of these snakes. I rolled snake eyes, so we're fine. But the interesting thing is, had I not been hexed, I would have won that combat. Not to mention wound or
It was the magic that made the difference.
So the reason I didn't do that say that we didn't get the hex off and he won, he would have crumbled and taken like a couple more wounds as well. So plus with the saves, we could have lost them both. But,
so that's it. It's still effectively anyone's game, although I think the casualty pile is going to be horrific for the Wood Elves either way. But the Wood Elves are going to, it's their turn next, so they'll probably kill something.
Now, you've got no magic, Chris, and that's the other thing to take into account. We've got 2 very large monsters that...
Yeah, so we're arguing if, buts, and maybes. I'm going to kill 1 monster next turn, and the Dragon Rider's going to do whatever he does. And we'll kill that guy, the mage.
This dude.
I think you're going to be...
If there's one dude that's going to survive, it's this.
I think the dragon's going to be caught up in combat for a minimum of 1 to 2 turns, and so he's actually out of the game.
This guy's going to charge in and finish him off with his 1 strength 3 attack.
Gentlemen, it's turn 3. There's 3 more turns to go.
Yeah, but in that 2 turns, we'll do devastating damage.
You will do devastating damage. I will do damage. And it'll come down to effectively that dragon and probably 1 other monster against that archery line. But that's all if, buts, and maybes, and you never know. I mean, a bit of Yahtzee in the hands of the right bastard, and you never know what will happen. Could go either way. Gentlemen, what have we learned?
Tactically, I think Chris made no mistakes. He made no errors. He deployed well. I think your left flank was always going to be vulnerable when you dealt with a big line of archers. And we actually outgunned you. We outgunned a ballistic army. Your army was designed to be ballistic.
Yeah, so it was outshot by these guys.
Yeah.
But not alone. It was a combined magic and shooting, which enabled us to give us the edge.
Which took that flank.
Yeah.
You've got 40 archers, then you've got a 360 odd point character who gives them a 50% increase in shooting, followed by another 100% increase in shooting.
Can I, on this unit, so while they absolutely dominated, the effort to make this work with the list when I was rating it, there's also the level 4 in there who's 200 points, so there's 550 points of character.
It's a really strong flank.
And then this is 175 points to give the magical boosting as well. So
Yeah, that's right.
that
He was
looking
doing
at
extra
close to
D3 buff to the magic, which made it very hard
So,
to dispel.
yeah.
So it's a 1,000 point investment out of 2.5
pretty
point
much,
army.
close to.
So, but we definitely beat your left flank, and we caused problems for your treeman. So
Well, the treatment was the left flank, so you annihilated the left flank, and you took out most of this unit of archers, which, while it doesn't give you any points, it did destroy an awful lot of killing ability.
And I did say to Doug that we had to not spread our forces out across the table, because I knew that dragon would actually pick out who it wanted to fight.
I was kind of glad that was over there, because I felt that so long as we kept these guys away to keep shooting, it's going to be hard unless for, even with the Eagles, to stop that shooting phase. With the Dragon over there, I felt pretty confident that this unit would be able to do its work that it needed.
Just as an aside, every time I look at this hero character here, Nefertiti or whatever her name is,
Khalida Nefertiti is the enemy she hates.
or whatever her name is. I'm always reminded of this moment in a movie called The Frighteners, where a cowboy has a very good time. If you haven't seen it before, you'll know what I mean if you watch it. I did actually make one tactical mistake, one bad one. I should not have tried a long shot charge with the dragon.
Yeah.
I should have just charged these bastards, but I couldn't be fucked thinking about how dangerous
And then it would have
they were.
been, he would have got the charge. He also would have had no magical negative buff against him, probably.
Yes, because I wouldn't have.
So, and he would have actually then devastated them.
We think you did roll pretty well. With
Yeah,
that,
but
so,
we can't always rely on me rolling well.
But
So strategically, we tied him down.
And with them having 3 wounds each, and they have the best armor save in the Tomb King army. The Tomb Kings are notoriously poor armored, except for them who have a 3+. And that.
So
that really
you're saying they would stick around for a while?
more so than normal Tomb
By
Kings.
this point in the game,
You're fighting
I
out
could,
the best unit.
if I'd gone up against them early, I could have defeated them by this point in the game. The dragon would have been a free agent for turn 4.
Yeah,
Definitely.
agree.
But I tried to be clever, and I lost the opportunity to do what I wanted to do, and ended up in the same fight anyway, but on less favourable terms.
Yeah.
Other than that, I think I did my tactics adequately. I think you did your tactics very well. I mean, that Death Star's horrific. I think my list, I mean, this was the first time in a long time where I went with a couple of level 2s instead of a level 4, just to have some variety and get away from the usual meta.
Yeah.
And it's fun, but I have to say, I need a fucking level 4 if I'm going to take on this shit.
It's interesting in that this is the first game I played where I've actually bought a magic phase, because all the other ones I've deliberately gone magic less just for fun. But having a level 4 with that boost of per spell, a D3 powered ice is pretty huge, and we saw it here how brutal the Tomb King magic phase can be.
Before we came here tonight, Doug gave me the option of 3 armies to take tonight. All Tomb Kings, but 3 different styles of fighting. And this was the one that had the most shooting in it. And I thought, you know what, 50% of this army can shoot.
Yeah.
And it just turns out that nearly 100% of Chris's army can shoot.
Yeah.
So I think we brought the right army to this game.
You certainly did. I mean, if I'd taken a melee heavy army with that
And we
investment
could've
in
changed
points
You
of
would have,
shooting,
in 3
changes
turns for us to
everything.
get there, he would have shot us up and killed us.
It's a fascinating. Also, because I thought initially, we might have been against the Chaos Dwarfs, or whereas with the Beast, everything is very different. But in this, it just showed that with the right magic boost, the combined arms approach, that the Tomb Kings can hold their own against the pretty shitty Wood Elf army with the arrows.
You're moving and shooting at long range into cover and getting forced to hit.
Yeah.
That's absolutely staggering. Nobody else can do
But
that.
that your first
and the
turn, when
poison.
the viewers watch your first turn, you devastated us by
Yeah.
taking the cask of souls
souls, yeah.
and the catapult out in the first turn. You smashed them.
I-
And we lost 2 very
Yes,
good units
yes.
in the first turn.
Yes.
Couldn't even see what they could do. That catapult we needed to blast
Yes.
those archers, and we didn't even get to see what it could do.
Yes.
Well, that's right, and I don't feel the least bit guilty about it, having taken on your 1,000-point investment in shooting.
No.
That took out a 300-point unit, a 225-point treeman, and I don't know, 100 points of mage.
Most of that's
And while you didn't get any points, it smashed most of another 300-point unit of shooters. You got your points back pretty much right on, actually.
And there were 40 to start with. There's 40 now. In terms of the tactics, because it was a tough call for Chris. Does he try to kill the big stuff or try to whittle that unit? It's possible that in hindsight, given that they were so lucky, because every shot lost was a poison shot.
My
but you just
experience
don't
of
know.
shooting these guys is you get them back with all their magic.
Oh,
So
yeah.
there's no point.
Well, you saw what happened with the chariots. We got
That was
all our
freaking
chariots back.
lucky. That
So
was
you got to
freaking
kill the
lucky.
big things because they'll smash you in melee.
Yeah.
So if you kill them, you suck up the casualties from the shooting, and you hope like fuck you get your dragon on a flank, basically. But we didn't get that far, and because I fucked up the tactics there, it's anyone's guess as to whether I would have managed to get there. Had I done so, I would have absolutely gutted that unit.
I think that we did a good job of mitigating what the Eagles and the Glade Riders could do in the kind of ignoring them. And we got a breath weapon off with the Sphinx, which kind of
the Eagles were ineffective in this game. Normally, you play them so well that they spoil a charge. We didn't actually get a charge.
I didn't need to this time.
In terms of the matchup, it's fast because Tomb Kings can't march anyway, so the Eagles can't block a march.
But
so
the Eagles were there to take out your War Machine casket if the shooting didn't do it.
Yeah.
So they weren't needed because the shooting was good
You
enough.
definitely got them in the
It
back.
should have killed him, really. He was
that
just a bit of a
motherfucker's
hero.
going down.
With his...
Another
He's
day,
got one
but
wound left.
That birdie will fuck him right up.
Had that guy not been wounded by the spell from him,
He would have won.
Would
He
have
probably would have
in
won
the next round. But
absolutely.
thankfully, the Eagle only had one wound left, and him with his one attack, it just worked out
That was
perfectly.
hilarious. So you sort of knew it was going to happen. Statistically improbable, but narrative-wise, it's a sort of dumb fuckery that Warhammer does to you.
When Emilio got the hit, I was like, nah, he's got the wound is coming. I've got
Oh, God, am I say, Emilio rolled up a freaking storm.
And you filmed some of those sixes, didn't you?
I did. I mean, your investment in Magic was significantly more than mine, and it did a lot more. Your investment in shooting and Magic as combo was impressive, so I'm not surprised at the damage. I was a little bit miffed with Emilio's starting ability to... why do you not go to the casino if you fucking know?
You need, one way you need
I imagine they'll get me with those cameras where they identify your face and they'll stop me at the door from going in the casino.
Although it's worth noting that, look, you guys played a pretty good game. There's a couple of things I might have done differently if it was me, but, I don't know if they would have worked better or not. They might not have worked any better. If I had not done the dumb thing with my dragon, I'd probably be in a more advantageous position with exactly the same dice rolls. So, who knows? Can't blame the dice for everything. Sometimes you win a game with bad dice, and sometimes
I feel like
sometimes you lose a game.
How many points
this
is
game
this?
was the Tomb Kings game. There was 2 moments where it came down to the wound where it worked out perfectly for us. The first was Emilio doing a maximum 3 wounds with the Bone Giant on the Tree Men. Because these guys, with their non-boosted, got exactly 2 wounds. So had
the
done
Tree Men
one
would
less,
still be
he
in the
would have
game, that's
survived.
right.
And then the other one was with the Shemus Burning Gaze doing exactly 2 to the Eagle, which let him survive. And then two and killed the Eagle.
And that's not a game changer.
No.
But
it tells the
it was
overall story
character
of
and half, wasn't it?
I just want to make the comment that your general on a dragon, how big was that investment? How many points?
Actually, he's 545, right? So I'm actually not sure if I could fit a level 4 mage into this list on top of him.
That's a lot of points to put in this guy. He didn't really get...
The one bit where the luck could have just spiked him even more was that you had a 50-50 of keeping him alive, the general, and did manage to save.
But we had poison and killing blow.
Killing blow, I think is pretty dangerous.
Poison and killing blow combination.
Yeah,
We were really in this fight.
And they're still in it as well because we would have had another crack at killing blowing.
Yeah.
That's true.
You took out one of our guys in that combat round, which means best scenario for you, Chris, you probably could have taken out 2 of them. Would still be left with 2.
Yeah.
Because he's still debuffed for one more turn.
Yeah, so there is a possibility of arbitrary chop his head off. Then the dragon, we don't know what that'll do in response.
Yeah. So it was a really... this is a big question mark about the result
that's
here.
Cool, because I know that they're very good, and that's why I was really keen to see these Necropolis Knights in combat. They are one of the best things in the Tomb King army.
Well,
and
the
I think
dragon
they
took a wound,
showed it
and he nearly lost his head.
Yeah, no, well, they showed it here.
It's
just
an interesting thing. Like I took the dragon and in the end the treeman. Previously, I didn't take the treeman, and that list didn't work too well because you need something that's going to do decent in a melee, because otherwise it's an entirely shooty army, right? But if I wanted to bring a level 4 mage, then I can't take the dragon rider.
Yeah.
But then what I can do is take a block of infantry for the melee or a block of dryads.
And then would you put a general on foot with them like a melee?
That's right. Yeah. So and you have this absolutely stubborn unit, although that can still get magicked. So yeah, you basically trade out that lord for a dragon lord, get rid of the dragon, get rid of my other mages, stick in probably 2 additional melee units. Totally different dynamic to the army game, the army style of play. And then you maybe get rid of a shooting unit to make sure you have enough melee. So, ifs, buts, maybes, roundabouts. Interesting experiment with this army list. It's the second time I took it. I trimmed bits off of the last one in order to put a treatment in.
It's great. It's a great game. You know, if you look at the lineup that we had, I think it was probably the best lineup that we could bring tonight.
Oh, you guys made a
matchup
killer
worked
list.
better, yeah.
Killer list.
Yeah.
It's a bit because, of course, I haven't brought magic in any of the games. I almost this time I went a bit heavy magic, almost because the other day the most magic was Cetra level 1.
We've been saying to
That's
the
an interesting point. Because last time you took a melee general.
yeah.
I just like Cetra the model, but that's the same problem with him because he's pretty much points, and at the 25%, then he's a level 1. You can't then take a strong magic phase.
I think this was definitely we brought the
It's a
right army
stronger
tonight.
than the
Well,
other
it was a
one.
very different game with the same army book.
Yeah.
It shows how versatile team, how different they are. Because a lot of the choices that I took in the other one, people didn't. So no scorpions.
It's a different game.
No
This was a
horse
different battle.
archers,
Completely different battle. Different.
and it shows the Tim Kings how they're
How
just
dynamic.
a great, cool army that they've got. They're not pigeonholed into the one thing.
Yeah.
They can, do a bunch of stuff. And I will say that in a future game where I caught with Emilio, one day we're gonna get an actual charge with our chariots. Hasn't happened yet,
we
but it's
haven't done
coming.
it yet, have we?
No, but defensively
Yeah.
we've been doing a bit
Yeah,
better.
but our
than-
knights
than
got in
previously.
on a 12.
We don't go to
So-
such great lengths to prevent that sort of bullshit from happening.
It's coming one day.
And all I'm going to say is that I like it when they just lie still like that, or words to that effect. That may not be the right quote, but you'll know what I mean when you find it.
Yes.
Well,
On that note,
ask your viewers if they like and subscribe, and tell your friends to watch.
Once again, Kalita painted beautifully, and with the matching Hierophant, with the awesome blue scheme that Emilio got him in,
He's an unhappy looking dude, isn't he?
making their debut. He really is, but he took it out on the elves. His anger.
He's a bastard.
Yeah, he really was.
alright folks, well look, on that note, like Amelia said, feel free to like, subscribe, comment, tell us what we did horribly wrong in terms of getting the rules backwards. Time to call it a night.